إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا ومن يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم أما بعد إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and respected sisters, inshallah, by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are continuing with our series of lectures on the topic. In reality, we are studying the book Either Muslim or Mushrik by author Abu Hamza al-Afghani Hafidhullah. Alhamdulillah, we reached up to the 11th irrefutable evidence regarding the bid'ah mukaffira, meaning that the bid'ah to keep those who worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the religion of Islam, because by giving them excuse of jahl, of ta'wil, or taqlid or ijtihad in the matters of tawheed, in the matters of Deen and Kufr bitaghut. So, Shaykh, he proceed with the 11 irrefutable evidence. He said, all those people who have gone astray, whom we have to deal with nowadays, actually ought to declare, according to their incorrect aqidah, the majority of the mushrikeen of the Arabs, the mushrikeen in the time before the Prophet was sent, and many others to be Muslims. Did not most of them consider themselves belonging to Islam, the Deen of all prophets, the true religion, Millah of Ibrahim alayhi salam, al-Hanifiyya, monotheism, the rejection of adultery and worshiping none but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Due to their ignorance, they thought that they were the personified Islam. This will be the conclusion of their incorrect aqidah, because most of the time shirk occurred in one of the nations. It occurred due to jahl or wrong ta'wil, interpretation, not due to stubbornness. Now, what is the difference between a Muslim from the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who falls into shirk and thus become a Muslim mushrik, and a Muslim from the Hunafa who falls into shirk and thus becomes a mushrik? But all of the mushrikeen from the Arabs were definitely not Muslims, as is also in the consensus of the scholars. Ibn Sahma narrates from his Shaykh Abdul Latif bin Abdul Rahman al-Shaykh in his book Minhaj al-Ta'sis, page 262. The majority of the mushrikeen and kuffar from the time of Nuh until our time were and are ignorant, and make wrong ta'wil, just as the people from all Ittihad wal Hulul like Ibn Arabi, Ibn Farid, al-Misani, others from the Sufis made ta'wil, and the grave worshippers and mushrikun made ta'wil, until he rahimahullah said also the Christians, they made ta'wil. Shaykh Abu Batin rahimahullah said, the Muslims are in agreement upon this, that someone who does not declare the Jews and the Christians as kuffar, or has doubt concerning their kufr, is himself a Kaafir. This even thought was we are conceived of the fact that the most of them are ignorant and unknowing people. Risalatul Intisar ad-Durar, and also ad-Durar al-Saniyah, volume 12, page 69-70. Those who have gone astray, again according to their incorrect understanding and incorrect aqidah, must excuse the Jews and the Christians and also the rest of the mushrikeen. This is because they excuse people who fall into shirk akbar as long it happens out of ignorance, jahl. So they do not term them as mushrikeen and do not treat them as such, but call them Muslims and also treat them as their brothers and sisters. Sheikh Abu Maryam Mukhlif said in his comment, Nuh alayhi salam, like other prophets, was sent to a nation of mushrikeen, who thought about themselves due to the ignorance that they were Muslims. It is narrated from Ibn Abbas, rahimahullah, that he said, there were 10 generations between Adam and Nuh alayhi salam, and all of them were following Islam. When Nuh was sent to them after knowledge has disappeared and Jahl had become widespread and they had fallen into Shirk Akbar, they still assumed of themselves to be Muslims. However, in spite of this, Nuh declared them as mushrikeen and said that they worship something other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He ordered them to leave this, their shirk, and to stick to Tawheed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لقد أرسلنا نوحا إلى قومه فقال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره إني أخاف عليكم عذاب يوم عظيم. In the meaning, indeed we sent Nuh to his people and he said, O my people, worship Allah alone. You have no other ilah, one who is worthy of worship except him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Certainly I fear for you the torment of a great day. Surah Al-A'raf, ayah number 59. Also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَعَ نُوحٍ إِذْ قَالَ لِقَوْمِهِ يَا قَوْمِ إِنْ كَانَ كَبُرَ عَلَيْكُمْ مَقَامِي وَتَذْكِيرِي بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ فَعَلَى اللَّهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ فَاجْمَعُوا أَمْرَكُمْ وَشُرَكَاءَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُنْ أَمْرُكُمْ عَلَيْكُمْ غُمَّةً ثم قضوا إلي ولا تنذرون. Meaning, and recite to them the news of Nuh alayhi salam, and he said to his people, O my people, if my stay and my reminding of the ayah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is hard on you, then I put my trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So devise your plot, you and those whom you attribute to Allah, and let not your plot be in doubt for you. Then pass your sentence on me and give me no respite. Surah Yunus, ayat 71. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأوحي إلى نوح أنه لا يؤمن من قومك إلا من قد آمن فلا تبتئس بما كانوا يفعلون. And it was revealed to Nuh, certainly none of your people will believe except those who have believed already. So be not sad because of what they used to do. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Mu'minun, ayah number 23, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا نُوحًا إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ فَقَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ ما لكم من إله غيره أفلا تتقون. And indeed we sent Nuh to his people and he said, O my people, worship Allah alone. You have no other ilah but him. Will you not then be afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Whoever reads Allah's book attentively and reflects on it will be absolutely assured that this is the religion of all prophets. And everyone who knows the true meaning of Islam has no doubt about this. The prophets declared the one who committed Shirk Akbar as a mushrik who left Islam, even if the message or the evidence had not reached him. And they declared punishment for the one whom the message did reach to, but he was one of those who rejected it, and a person who did not receive the message, but in his life he was capable of gaining knowledge. For instance, he was careless, idle, or uninterested. Such a person will also be punished. Concerning the punishment, the scholars are also in agreement that there is no difference between the one who had the knowledge and did not act upon it, out of conscious stubbornness, and the one who did not strive to search for knowledge, which caused his ignorance. So here, author of book Either Muslim or Mushrik, he's bringing an argument that those who went astray today by following Dawood bin Jarjis in declaring those who worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala due to their ignorance as a Muslim still, then because of this wrong aqidah of theirs, then they have to also consider the Jews and the Christians to be Muslims, those who are still ignorant and they are not able to take away the ignorance regarding their shirk and kufr which they are acting upon. And this is apparent from the scholars of Najd and before from other scholars that they did not make difference between those who make shirk and they call themselves Muslims, those who want to who assign Islam for themselves, and those who are kuffar in asl. Once when the person he makes big shirk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then his deen is not the deen of all anbiya, and his deen is not the deen of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And his ilah, the object of worship, is not Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is other deity, even though if he claims that he worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaykh Abdul Latif bin Abdul Rahman al-Shaykh, he said in his book Misbah al-Dhalam on page 326, when da'wah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam reaches Nasrani, the one who is a Christian, and he does not follow this, he does not embrace al-Islam, because this cross worshipper, he thinks that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is only sent to those who are ummiyin, to those who do not know how to write and read, illiterate. Then such a person, such a Christian, he is a Kaafir, even though he does not know that it is truth in message of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this is the end of the quote. And here what we have many benefits from this fatwa regarding the theme which we are currently addressing. Shaykh rahimahullah, he said that he called the one who worships Isa alayhi salam, the one who worships the cross, he said, if such a person does not believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when dawah comes to him, he is a kafir. So now immediately we can ask the question, so if he is a kafir at that point, at that moment, when he refuses, when he turns away from obedience, so what was he before? Was he Muslim or was he mushrik? And this is the what we are addressing, this is the issue which we are discussing the whole time in our dars and our lectures. And this is that such person, he was kafir but not kafir of punishment, or he was mushrik but not mushrik kafir. This is the first benefit. And second is, we see that the scholars of ash-Shar wal-Jama, they did not make difference between the one who is kafir in asr and the one who is assigning himself to al-Islam. And that the ruling is same, the hukum is same for them when they went into shirk and kufr, the same is the ruling, that they are mushrikun. Also we find from the Shaykh Abu Batin rahimahullah in Durar al-Saniyah, volume 12, page 69 to 74. It's a long fatwa, but we are going only to translate the part which we are interested in. He, rahimahullah, Mufti of Najd, he said, if the one who does big shirk is excused in his jahl, in his ignorance, then who is the one who does not have excuse? What is necessary from this belief is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have proof that no one except the one who is mu'anid, the one who turns away. And this is the one who propagates, the one who believes and calls towards this aqidah, who has this belief. He is not going to be able to hold onto his fundament till the end. Instead, he has to go into contradiction. He has to enter into contradiction. Because he must not stop on pronouncing takfir on the one who doubts on Risalah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or he doubts rising of day of judgment and other matters from Deen. And the one who doubts, meaning ash-Shar, Jahil, he is Jahil. He is Jahil. Then Shaykh continues, he said, it is what comes from necessity, from this belief, that the one who is Jahil, he is excused, is that we cannot pronounce takfir on the Jews and the Christians who are Jahil, who are ignorant, and those who make sujood to the sun and the moon and to the idols because of their ignorance, jahl. Neither on those who Ali ibn Abu Talib rahimahullah burned by fire, and we have firm belief that they are jahil, that they are ignorant, that they were ignorant. And all Muslims, they come together on agreement that the one who does not pronounce takfir on the Jews, Christians, or doubt their kufr, that he is Kaafir also. And we, meaning Abu Batin, saying about himself and ash-Sunnah wal-Jama, and we have firm belief that majority of them are jahil, that majority of them are ignorant. And this is the end of quote. Alhamdulillah. So those who want to learn, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides the means, and those who want to stay ignorant, and those who want to stay in the kufr and disbelief, then there is no way for them. Here, the scholars of ash-Sunnah wal-Jama, they clearly don't make difference between those who are Jews and Christians and those who pertain themselves to Islam, those who assign themselves to Islam, but they worship other or besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala someone else. And in this fatwa, we have great benefits. From one is that the one who has the false fundaments, false usul in the aqidah, that they are bound sooner or later to contradict their belief. And one of the signs of the truthfulness of aqidah and the truthfulness of usul is that the person, he can go all the way with his fundament, and he does not have to contradict himself. He does not have to compromise and contradict himself. As here Shaykh explained to us that the one who does not want to make takfir on the one who falls into shirk and kufr, then he has to fall into contradiction, because, as Shaykh explained here, he has to make takfir on the one who falls into shirk and kufr in the clear matters of deen, in usul deen. And I add to it, and what about asl deen? What about the matters of tawheed and kufr bitaghut? And he said the one who the one who stops at takfir, then he is a kafir himself, because he did not do kufr bitaghut. He did not renounce the kafir, or he has a doubt into kufr of the kafir. Then this is one benefit. The other benefit is that Shaykh here, he doesn't make difference, as we mentioned before, from the Jews and the Christians and mushrikun, from those who pertain themselves to Islam. As he mentioned, Ali ibn Abu Talib and those who are burned because they said that Ali was ilah. So Ali radiallahu anhu, he punished them, he burned them by fire. And this is a well-known case from the history of Islam. And he said, yeah, that all the Muslims, they have agreement, ijma, that the one who does not make takfir on Jews, Christians, that he is a kafir, and majority of them are jahil, ignorant. So ignorance was not excuse for them, and it is not excuse for those today. Especially in our time of mass media and easy available informations from the Deen matters and from the dunya matters. Shaykh Abu Batin, rahimahullah, he also said regarding those who said that the deeds of a person who falls into shirk and kufr, the deeds are kufr and shirk, but regarding the himself, the individual, he is not. They say that deeds are kufr and shirk, but person, he is still a Muslim, if he is ignorant or has a tabir. Regarding this false aqidah, this aqidah which takes people into dalala, Shaykh Abu Batin, he said, regarding the takfir of individual person, muayyan, we say that from the Quran and the Sunnah, from apparent meanings of ayat and hadith, and from the speech of the majority of the scholars, jumhur, ulama, without any doubt, it is telling us, it is proof for us of disbelief of the one who makes shirk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by worshipping other than Him. And they did not make difference between individual and something else. And they did not make difference between individual person and something else. End of the quote. So here, Shaykh Abu Batin, rahimahullah, he clearly said that from the apparent meaning, from the zahir meaning of all ayats from the Quran and the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from understanding of the scholars of Islam, they never made difference between the person and deeds, because the one who does deeds is the person himself, Alhamdulillah. So inshallah, before we finish, I would like also to quote Shaykh Hamad bin Atiq, rahimahullah, one of the great scholars of Islam, who died in a year of Hijri 1302. He was arguing with one of those followers of Batil, those who did not want to pronounce Takfeer on Ottoman Empire, and who was still living in Dar al-Kufr. So he said to him, if, in the meaning now I'm translating the fatwa, if their dar, meaning their country, is Darul Islam, as they used to claim, and still people of today, they claim this. Why did not you call them to Islam? Why did not you order them to destroy these graves and these tombs which they worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And why did you not order them to stay away from the shirk and what follows shirk? If because they pray, they make hajj, they fast and they give sadaqah, if this was the cause of your shubha, that you are deceived because of these matters, then think from the beginning of the matter. And that is that Tawheed was made apparent, and that Tawheed was established in Mecca by dawah of Ismail ibn Ibrahim al-Khalil alayhi salam. And Qawm, the people of Mecca, they stay on Tawheed for a while, from one time. And then Shirk spread because of Amr ibn Luhay, and they become mushrikun because of that. And their country, meaning the Mecca, from Darul Islam become Darul Shirk or Darul Kufr. Even though some deeds of and some matters of Deen al-Islam, of meaning of Deen of Ismail alayhi salam and his father Ibrahim alayhi salam, was still left in them, such as doing Hajj, giving sadaqah to Hujjaj, those who went to Hajj, and other matters. It came to you the dua of Abdul Muttalib. In this dua, he with sincerity called Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding the story of al-fil, of the elephant, and the other matters which were left from Ismail alayhi salam and Deen of Islam. But that time did not make, it was not excuse, and it was not something which excused their takfir and enmity towards them. Instead, it is apparent to us, it is clear to us, and to those other than us, that the shirk of people today, meaning during Ottoman Empire, and today, meaning now, I say, is bigger than the shirk of time of Quraysh after Ismail alayhi salam and during the dawah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. More than that, from the Adam alayhi salam, whole population of earth was upon Tawheed for 10 centuries or 10 generations, depends how we translate the Arabic word. Up to the point when extremism regarding the good people developed in them. So they start to make dua to them instead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and due to that they become kuffar. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Nuh alayhi salam to them to call them towards Tawheed. Then Shaykh said, therefore think about that, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to them, towards Nuh alayhi salam and Hud alayhi salam. That they, all Anbiya, called their people towards ikhlas, sincerity towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning to worship in all acts of ibadah only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to direct all acts of ibadah only to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I will stop here with this quote. So here what we see from Shaykh Hamid ibn Atiq rahimahullah is clearly that there is no difference between those during time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Quraysh, and during the time of Dawah Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Tamimi, rahimahullah, and during our time, that the one who falls into shirk and kufr and he pertains himself to Islam, then he is still guilty of shirk and kufr, and he is losing the name of Muslim and he become mushrik. If he is ignorant, the punishment is not addressed, the punishment is not incumbent upon him until the proofs are established. Till the proofs are established. Alhamdulillah, this should be enough regarding this 11th irrefutable evidence to those who are sincere, towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who seek knowledge sincerely. Alhamdulillah, author of the book, Idha Muslim Mushrik, then he continues as an addition to last irrefutable evidence. He said, the scholars are in agreement, as a subtitle, he said, it is really surprising that if you provide some of the so-called scholars of nowadays with the truth, they respond. No one has ever said this in entire history. Meaning, no one ever said that mushrik is a mushrik. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. They really think everyone is in agreement that a person can worship Allah alone and reject everything else which is worshipped besides Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, and still simultaneously worship someone else at the same time. Or we could formulate it like this. However paradoxical it sounds, that he makes kufr, complete denial, with all that which he is worshipping besides Allah subhanahu. Glorified you, O Allah, this is a great lie. Since several statements from the scholars concerning this matter have been mentioned before, I have provided below just a few additional narrations from the ijma, from the consensus. The scholars, in general, those of interpretation, language and history, are in agreement that Arabs who lived before the Prophet ﷺ was sent were described as the mushrikun of the Arabs. Sheikh Ishaq ibn Abdul Rahman al-Sheikh says, the people from the time of Fatra who neither received the message nor the Quran died in a condition of Jahiliyyah and can never be called Muslims. The scholars are in agreement upon this. One cannot supplicate for their sins to be forgiven. The scholars had different opinions only in the issue of as to whether they will be punished in the hereafter or not. Takfeer al-Muayyan, page 17. Shaykh Abdul Rahman ibn Hassan ibn Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, may Allah be merciful to him, said, the early scholars and scholars of nowadays from the Sahaba, Tabi'in, the Imam, and from all ash-Sunnah wal-Jama are in agreement that a person cannot be a Muslim as long as he does not make himself free from Shirk Akbar and from him who commits it, meaning from the what is worshipped and from the one who worships it, worshipper. One has to abhor them and show them enmity, everyone according to his ability and power, and one must perform his deeds sincerely for Allah's sake and pure from shirk. Ad-Durar, volume 11, page 545-546. Statements from the scholars of ash-Sunnah wal-Jama, another subtitle. What I have mentioned until now and what will follow is enough for me, inshallah. Whoever would like to read further on the topic should know that the scholars have occupied themselves with this question, and some have even written entire books concerning this topic. such as Takfeer al-Mu'ayyan from the Sheikh Abdurrahman bin Hassan al-Sheikh, Kashf al-Shubuhatain from the Sulaym bin Sahman, and other books on the scholars of Najd. Abdullah and Hussein, both the sons of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, said, whoever died among the people of Shirk before this da'wah reached him, but it was known that he committed deeds of Shirk, which he regarded as a part of his Deen, on which he died, he is given the status of someone who died in a state of Kufr. Hence, it is not allowed to supplicate to him, to slaughter in his name, and to give sadaqah in his name. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what he really is. If the message reached him in his lifetime and he opposed it or resisted it, he is outwardly and inwardly a Kaafir. If he did not receive the message, his case is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to judge. Ad-Durar, volume 10, page 142. The sons of Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab and Hamid ibn Nasir Ali Muammar said, if one commits deeds of Kufr and Shirk out of Jahl, or because there is no one who points out to him his error, we do not call him Kaafir until the evidence reaches him, meaning until the Kama Hujjah is established. But we also do not say about him that he is a Muslim. End of the quote from Ad-Durar, volume 10, page 136. Also, I would like to add one more fatwa in order to emphasize and strengthen the truth from Sheikh Abdul Aziz, who was at his time judge in Najd, and scholars who were around him. He was the main judge. They were asked the question, which I'm going to read now, which was addressed to them. Meaning, regarding the third question, are your words that Islam destroys whatever was before Islam? And in another narration, removes everything what was before him. And in the hadith of last Hajj of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that all blood, meaning the diya, the blood money, was from the Jahiliyyah, is under the feet, was thrown under the feet, and so on. So they continue the question. They said, it is apparent to us from your answer that a person who dies, who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but if he says something or he did something from the Kufr and Shirk out of his ignorance, that you do not make him Kaafir until the truth is established against him. Therefore, if someone from them was killed before this blessed da'wah came to him, are we liable to pay diya, to pay the blood money to his family, or not? So this was the question which was addressed to Shaykh Abdul Aziz and scholars around him in Najd during his time. So therefore, answer, we say that if such person was doing the deeds according to Kufr and Shirk because of Jahl, because of ignorance, or because of the lack of someone who could tell him, who could warn him, who could explain him that what he was doing is Kufr and Shirk. We don't say that such a person is Kaafir. If the truth, if the Risala was not established against him, meaning that if the Risala did not come to him. So now if I stop here, enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would say to us, see that the scholars, they say that such a person, he was not able to remove his ignorance, he is not Kaafir, therefore he is Muslim. But look what the Shaykh Abdul Aziz and those scholars around him, rahimahullah, what they said. But we don't say that he is a Muslim. Rather, we will say that what he did were deeds of kufr, and that his blood and his mal, his wealth, is halal to us. Even though we don't make judgment on particular person because the proof is not established against him. But we won't say that if he is not Kaafir, he is Muslim. And this I would stop here, and this is from Majmu'at al-Risal al-Masal Najdiyya, volume 5, page 574 and 577. Those who are interested, they should look for themselves. So here we see clearly that scholars of Najd and scholars of ash-Sunnah wal-Jama never regarded one who are doing the deeds of Shirk and Kufr Akbar as a Muslim, even though he was ignorant, jahil, or one who had a wrong interpretation. As much as so that he could not remove his ignorance from himself. Still, for them, they were mushrikun, and their blood and their wealth were halal, allowed to Muslim country, meaning allowed for the Islamic state. And this is clear. This is clear issue which ijtihad is not allowed. Which ijtihad is not allowed because it pertains to the Deen, to the Deen, from the clear matters of Tawheed. Alhamdulillah, inshallah, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by His mercy to forgive me and my family, and to forgive you and your family, to guide us to truth, to give us tawfiq and istiqamah upon the truth, to give us sincerity and humility in our deeds towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to save us from His punishment in grave and hereafter, and to save us from ourselves. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let us enter into al-Jannah al-Firdaus by His mercy of ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanallah bihamdihi, ashhadu anna la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayh.